All right, let's talk about something huge. Google just dropped a tool that might just completely change how you build AI apps. Today, we're going to unpack the brand new Gemini File Search API and figure out what it really means for all you developers out there. Look, if you're a developer and you've ever tried to build a system that can reason over your own documents, this question probably hits pretty close to home. The promise of Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG, is massive, right? But the actual setup, that's a whole different headache. And yeah, that headache is all about complexity. Building a RAG system from scratch has always been this major hurdle. It requires so much specialized knowledge and just tons and tons of boilerplate code. I mean, think about it. With the traditional RAG system, you're not just, uploading a few files. No. You've got to deal with manually importing the data. Then you have to write all this complex custom logic just for chunking. Then you're managing vector indexes. And on top of all that, you have to build the entire retrieval pipeline from the ground up. Seriously, each one of those steps could be its own project. But what if you could just skip all that? Like, what if all that heavy lifting was just done for you? Well, that's the whole idea behind this RAG as a service thing, and it's exactly what Google's bringing to the table. This, my friends, is RAG on easy mode. The Gemini File Search API basically takes that entire tangled mess of a workflow we just talked about and just boils it all down to a single, simple API call. The whole point is to let you focus on building your cool app, not the plumbing underneath. 31 minutes. Let that sink in for a second. You can go from having an idea for a custom chatbot to a working prototype in less time than it takes to watch an episode of your favorite show. I mean, come on. That is a complete game changer for how fast you can build and test things. Okay, so you're probably wondering, how on earth does Google pull this off, right? How do they hide all that crazy complexity? Well, when you look under the hood, it's actually a really elegant and streamlined process. So check this out. The whole thing is just 4 simple steps. First, you upload your documents. We're talking PDFs, text files, whatever you've got. Then, the API just automatically chunks and indexes everything for you. After that, you just use the standard generate content function to ask it a question. The API does the search, finds what it needs, and boom, gives you an answer. It is literally that simple. So, the real magic behind all this? It's something called semantic search. Instead of just looking for keywords, like a regular old search engine, it actually converts your documents and your question into these things called embeddings. You can just think of them as numerical fingerprints for meaning. This is what lets it find the most relevant stuff, even if the text doesn't use the exact same words you used in your question. And this next part is so important, especially if you want to build AI you can actually trust. The API doesn't just spit out an answer from nowhere. It gives you grounded answers. What that means is it literally points you to the exact chunk in the specific document that it used to come up with that response. This is absolutely massive for being able to verify things and, cut down on those pesky hallucinations. Okay, so it's simple. We get it. But is it actually powerful? And maybe the biggest question of all, what's it going to cost me? So let's dig into the features that actually give you some control. And then we'll look at a pricing model that, well, it's probably going to surprise you. So even though it's designed to be simple, you're not totally giving up control. Like, let's say the default chunking just isn't cutting it for your super specific legal documents. No problem, you can define your own rules. Or you can add metadata tags to your files, tag stuff with Q3 report or marketing brief, and then you can run these really powerful filtered searches. Oh, and of course, it works with the latest and greatest Gemini models like Pro and Flash. All right, now for the price. I want you to guess, what do you think it costs to store all your documents and to run all those fancy semantic search queries? Take a look. The answer is nothing. Zilch. Zero. So let me break that down. Storing your documents? Free. Searching those documents? Also free. The only thing you pay for is a tiny one-time processing fee when you first upload them. We're talking 15 cents per million tokens. That makes just trying this thing out, just experimenting, incredibly cheap. All right, I know what you're thinking. This sounds way too good to be true. Free storage, free queries, it's super simple. So what's the catch, right? There's always a catch. And yeah, like with any managed service, there are definitely some trade-offs you need to think about. So here's the deal, the fundamental trade-off. What you get is insane speed and simplicity. You get a fully managed infrastructure that just works. What you give up is that super fine-grained control. You can't, for example, pick your own embedding model or go in and tweak the ranking algorithm. Now, for most of us, that's a fantastic deal. But if you have a really specialized use case, yeah, that could be a limitation. So, when you step back and look at the whole picture, what is this tool really for? Where does it shine? Well, it has one primary use case where it's just an absolute superpower. This thing, the Gemini File Search API, is your new prototyping superpower. Full stop. It is built from the ground up to get you from an idea to a working proof of concept faster than anything else out there. It's just perfect for building things like internal chatbots or knowledge bases or simple AI agents where getting it done fast is the most important thing. And you see, that brings us right back to where we started this whole conversation. The main idea, the core value, is crystal clear. Stop wasting your time fighting with infrastructure and start spending your time actually building the cool thing you wanted to build. So now that the barrier to entry for building these really smart, document-aware AI apps has been just completely lowered, it really only leaves one question, right? If you can build a custom chatbot in minutes, what are you going to create first?